And many of you may be struggling right now. Maybe you're worried about your job, your family, or both. Well, you're going to want to keep it here, because joining us live now from our West Palm Beach studios is our own Miranda Khan. She's the co-host of RealConvo with Alan Mednick, and she's bringing us a story sure to inspire and offer hope. Miranda?
Jessica, thank you so much. Talk about beating the odds. This next guest here has a survival story like nothing you have ever seen or heard. You might call it a miracle.
Maybe the reason that I got to live 15 years ago was the culmination of this moment right here. God, please save me. I don't want to die. I made a mistake.
You had a very significant spine injury, but you were completely intact neurologically.
Kevin Hines went to the bridge, jumped over the guardrail, plummeted 200 feet, but survived.
When we were in high school, he had that first major breakdown.
Junior year, and it was like a switch flipped. And then you started acting out publicly.
I didn't see hope. I didn't see a future.
We had this conversation in the hallway, and you said, "Hey, I found out what's wrong with me. I'm bipolar."
I really have been fighting for the last 18 years with this disease. Mania, depression, psychosis, hallucinations, all that's still there. I just know how to cope with it, and I know how to beat it.
So inspiring, and that's where we want to welcome in our next guest, Kevin Hines. So good to see you. Alan and I have really been looking forward to this. You are an author, you are a public speaker, a filmmaker, now you're working on a docuseries.
Just an unbelievable, inspirational person, and we're so honored to have you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, both of you, very much, Miranda and Alan. I really appreciate it.
So, Kevin, Miranda has actually asked me a bunch of times, what can we do to help someone? What can you do?
What's our mission?
And typically I say, just listen, say hello, maybe even smile. That's basically what your story was. That's how things started. Is that correct?
That's right. When I went to the Golden Gate Bridge to try to end my life, I just wanted one person to see me, to see my pain, to say something kind, something compassionate, something empathetic. Are you okay, kid? Is something wrong, or can I help you? I would have told them everything and begged them to save me. On that bridge that day, I was hoping, wishing, and praying for one person to stop me from what I was about to do. I could not stop myself. I was compelled to die with my hands. I thought I was worthless, but I was wrong.
So talk about that moment, because Alan shared your story with me, and it's so incredible. It's almost hard to believe. So you make that decision to jump over the bridge, and then something completely unexpected happened. It really is nothing shy of a pure miracle. God was definitely watching you.
Absolutely. When I went to the Golden Gate Bridge and I jumped off, I fell 220 feet, 25 stories at 75 miles an hour in 4 seconds.
Wow.
When I hit the water, I shattered 3 vertebrae, my T12, L2, and L1, and they splintered throughout my insides. I missed severing my spinal cord that day by 2 millimeters. And in the water, I went down 70 feet beneath the water surface, and I was drowning. I made my way to the surface, unable to feel my legs. I broke the surface, and I bobbed up and down in the water, and I prayed, God, please save me. I don't want to die. I made a mistake on repeat, and I believe he heard me. In the water, as I fell to stay afloat, something began to circle beneath me, something very large and very slimy and very alive. And it turned out that I would do a suicide prevention campaign a year later, and a man would write into the TV show I was on and say, Kevin, I'm so very glad you're alive. I was standing less than 2 feet away from you when you jumped. Until this day, no one would tell me whether you lived or died. It's haunted me until right now. By the way, there was no shark like you mentioned on the show you thought there was beneath you. It was, in fact, a sea lion, and the people above looking down believed it to be keeping your body afloat until the Coast Guard boat arrived behind you. Now, that's just one piece of the miracle. A woman driving by in a red car who saw me go over the rail at the moment of my attempt called her friend in the United States Coast Guard, who happened to be manning the waters of the bridge that day. At the hospital where I entered the emergency ward, one of the foremost back surgeons on the West Coast was leaving for the day, opted to stay and do my surgery, the first and only of its particular kind. He invented it for my situation, saving me the ability to stand, walk, and run. Of the 39 Golden Gate Bridge jump survivors, 99% of those who've attempted are gone. They never get to tell their story. They're dead. Of the 1% that survived that fall, 5 of us can stand, walk, and run. They call us the most exclusive survivors club in the world.
I got to tell you, I'm getting chills right now.
I know,
on the way
hairs.
here preparing for your story, I was watching your videos, and I was just like chills. I do want to ask you one question. Now, I saw in one of the videos you had mentioned that you heard voices telling you to jump. The moment, I think this is a critical part too, the moment that you actually left and there was no turning back, voices stopped, you didn't want to die anymore. Is that what happened?
That is a critical key, because that is something that I want you to bring up, because most people decide that you didn't want to die. And I saw the video, we don't have time to go to it, but the nurse talking about, you kept saying, I'm sorry, and she knew at that point, this is in your documentary that you interviewed her, that you didn't want to take your life. And that's critical, because you've told me, Alan, you're an expert in this, that most people don't want to do that. And there's a lot of people, which is why we wanted to bring you on, who need to hear that right now, Kevin.
Yes. The millisecond my hands left the rail, it was an instantaneous regret for my actions and the 100% recognition that I just made the greatest mistake of my life, and it was too late. All around the world, where people have recovered or lived from suicide attempts, they recount the same thing. The moment they thought they were going to die, they did not want to. This is because we recognize in that moment that our thoughts do not have to become our actions.
Right.
That's really important. I just want, you had a message. What is your message? What can you tell people out there?
My message is simple. Be kind, compassionate, loving, caring, empathetic, giving to every person you come into contact with, no matter their behavior toward you, because you never know what they're going through. And whatever you do, be here tomorrow and every day after that. You are valued, you are loved, you are worthy, and you matter.
I do. I love that motto. We're running out of time, but I really hope we can have you back. Kevin, I know you've been so busy. You've been doing that documentary, you've been doing your docuseries, you've been traveling all over the place, and then coming on shows like ours, and we really do appreciate it. But we want to let all of our viewers know that they can learn more about your story by visiting our website. Again, that's RealConvo.com. Make sure you put that little hyphen in there. Kevin Hines, thank you so much. Please tell us you'll come on again, and we're so glad that you're alive to share your story.
Thank you, Kevin.
I'm very grateful. Thank you.
This gives me chills hearing that.
I'm still getting chills. I mean, the chills were constantly when I was preparing for this.
A sea lion saved his life.
It's amazing.
I mean, just think about that. And I'm so glad you brought up the point, because most people, they don't want to die.
People have a stronger will to live than they do dying. And that just proves it.
Right. And we always want to remind everybody that on our website, if you're struggling or you know somebody that is, please go to our Get Help section of our website. You'll find a bunch of resources available to you. All right, there's still much more to come here. You're watching America's Voice News. Up next, Tudor and Matt. Stay tuned.